Noise is a torture to intellectual people. A good indication to this truth can be seen by watching children grow up. We all want them to talk so fast when they are young, and when they finally do, we can't get them to be quiet. Children would shout at each other to the top of their lungs. Anyone who took their children out when they were young could attest to this truth. Welcome to Back to the Basics, where you learn facts, hope you embrace it. Watch, like, share, bring in awareness. Watch, like, share, bring in awareness. I'm fearless. Welcome to Back to the Basics, where you learn facts, hope you embrace it. Watch, like, share, bring in awareness. Watch, like, share, bring in. When a child gets older, however, you will realize that the noise level they used to project drops. Even in a class of young students, it's generally thought that the quietest students are the most intelligent, which is not necessarily true. But we can attest to that a young person in their teen is far quieter than children who are around 3 or 4 years old, except when it comes to their music. It's all about teaching in the nation, race, soul, time now, no. As children grow older and their brains further develop, they become more and more intelligent. And the more intelligent a person becomes, the more their voice starts to diminish in volume. It stands to reason that a person's intelligence is in inverse proportion to the amount of noise they can tolerate. Just think, the quiet control voice is infinitely more effective when dealing with others, including children. Shouting or loud talking is almost always a sign of inferiority, and it also hurts the ears and the nerves and causes great fatigue. People who tend to raise their voice when they're angry should try to do just the opposite. They will be more effective while maintaining better control of themselves. Let's be honest, it's very difficult to imagine an intelligent, thoughtful, poised person making a lot of noise, shouting, or losing control. A wise person speaks only a few words, only when necessary, and just loud enough to be heard clearly under all circumstances. A person who is unable to remain quiet, especially when they're angry, easily becomes involved in heated debates, which too often leads to enmity, hostility, and energy drain. An argument, like a potential car accident, can generally be spotted from some distance away. So, it is wise to always slow down and approach all tempering situations with caution. In conversations like a car, the worst danger is speed. It's very hard to get hurt going at 10 miles an hour in a car. And likewise, it's very hard to get into an argument if you're not aggressively trying to say the first thing that comes to your mind in defense. In any conversation, you can avoid a serious argument that can lead to a lot of heartache and pain by just being extremely careful with your words. When someone makes a statement that you feel is wrong, you should not remain silent. As you feel the adrenaline pumping into your body, just simply ask the other party a question like, "Why did you say that?" If they give you an illogical response, ask them, "Would you mind being more specific?" You see, instead of trying to prove the other person wrong, allow them to prove themselves right or discredit themselves, which they will promptly do if they can't answer these simple questions that should support their premise. So, put the burden of proof on the shoulders of the person who started it, for that is exactly where it truly belongs. Then you can sit back and watch and listen if there's any reason or none at all in their position. And when there is none, the person will eventually try to change the subject, and you'll find that it leads to an awkward situation, but nevertheless, no argument. Now that person won't be so quick to start another argument the next time. People who like to argue and will at the drop of a word on any subject are people who enjoy agitating the feelings of others. And the unfortunate thing is sometimes they don't even realize it themselves. Sad but true, the great majority of people do not have the faintest idea of the image they project for the world to see and hear. That is why certain sports like football and basketball record the games so that the players can see themselves as they really look. And at the same time, they can see where they can improve. In truth, arguments are useless and ridiculous. You must strive to give up arguing and become silent and look within. Arguments usually stem from fault finding, which is a detrimental habit. The mind of a person who is always poking their nose into the affairs of others is always out of control. So forget the shortcomings of others and work to improve yourself first. Life is precious and short. No one knows when it will be taken. Every minute should be used for a higher purpose other than gossiping and judging others. And since it takes two to argue, let's make sure that each of us, that's me and you, are not one of them. I'm Kef Ray, and this is Back to the Basic. Like, share, and subscribe. Facts we stated. You wanna know something? Go back to basics. Most saw trapping was called the Matrix. The world frivolized, yet it's hard to face it. So I spread truth, hope you embrace it. Watch, like, share, bring in awareness.